Your attitude determines your success. You need your daily nourishment for wisdom, success, personal growth, positivity, and confidence in order to maintain a badass attitude, like this one. Turn up your energy with Wednesday Wisdom. Here again is Kelly Orchard.
I think it's Wednesday, and I'm going to do a little Wednesday wisdom for you. Good morning, everybody. Kelly Orchard, the B.A.D.A.S.S certifier. What I have for you today, I have some plans for 2021. I do, and I'm working on them. And I just wanted to share some fun stuff with you. I do stay in touch with my radio friends. I have a long history in radio. In fact, I had a very famous Los Angeles radio personality call it my pedigree. And the other day was my dad's birthday. Of course, I'm second generation radio broadcaster. My dad was in radio in Los Angeles during the heyday of Boss radio days when things were really turning around for radio and it was a lot of fun. And so I've stayed in contact with, a lot of radio people from that era. I have something I did want to ask you first of all. So one of my clients and friends, it's like I'm trying to think outside the box to do something with my career. I mean, how many people's lives have been completely upended and maybe the career path that you were on, however, whatever age you are, doesn't matter at this point, is no longer viable. I know that in some instances that was the case for me, the live speaking engagements, the workshops in person, I had to adapt. I had to figure out a way to make the shift. And it's all in my badass tools, by the way. When everything started coming down at the beginning of the COVID thing and the lockdown and, personal things are going on with me. And I felt it necessary that it was time to move my parents in with me. And there was so many other things. And I'm not going to share all of the details about the emotional traumas that have also been occurring in my personal life, but the little professional, hiccups. But the thing is that I was talking to a colleague and he goes, well, this is the time where you're going to really find out if your badass tools work. And, I can honestly say they do, but they are just therapeutic tools. I'm not doing anything differently than I would encourage you to do to be able to work your way through this, navigate your way through whatever change you need to make. So here we are, it's like, how can you think outside the box when you're stuck inside one? I mean, really, I know, and that's just a real statement. And I came up with that with a client yesterday and she goes, oh my God, that's perfect. But then the other thing I thought is like, we have to play the hand we're dealt. Okay, but geez Louise, they changed the card game. I'm trying to play the hand I dealt, but what game are we playing now? I mean, because I thought we were playing Go Fish, but I think we're playing poker now, and I'm not sure which game of poker we're playing, and can I change these cards? I mean, don't you feel that way? It's like, geez Louise, what the heck? So, as I'm, talking to my friends in radio or you or somebody else, I'm finding out that we're all kind of in this, this box together, and the box just keeps enclosing us. And so I had people saying, it's like, I have a lot of positive energy, I know, and I've done a couple of trips to Sedona, which has really helped, and I have lots to share. And imagine, and I'm a writer, so I'm a creative person. So when I'm stressed out, I write. That's my coping tool. That's what I do. Or I dance. It's music or writing for me. Always dance and writing. And so I've been writing a lot, so I gotta say, we'll talk about things like a word of the year. I will go over the B.A.D.A.S.S program with you. It is an acronym. So each week or each month we'll be dedicating to one letter of the B.A.D.A.S.S acronym. And I'll explain all of that to you, but we're also going to get some Mustang Mondays in there. And on Fridays, it'll be Fruitful Fridays because, Kelly Orchard's apple a day is daily nourishment for wisdom, success, and personal growth. This is just, a lot of these radio people say, well, you should start a podcast. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start a podcast. So here I am. So one of the things that I'm thrilled that I was able to do is I was able to recruit a highly skilled, fun, former major market radio personality to do the voiceover intro and outro and some other fun things for me. And I'm not afraid to say his name. I'll say his name. His name is B.A.D.A.S.S. And he worked with my dad in Los Angeles at KHJ during the Boss radio days. When I think Bobby came to the station in the 70s. My dad was there earlier, but Bobby came to the station in the 70s. And then when we moved to Victorville to build our own radio stations, my dad took Bobby Ocean's voice with us. That's right. He was the imaging voice. Basically, he did all of our liners and promos and anything that wasn't me or my brothers. It was Bobby Ocean. And so for me, his voice is home. Because honestly, I probably here's a little insight I want to just share with you. Okay. The thing is that creatively, my brother Brad was always my coach when it came to being on the air, radio commercials, promos, whatever that we did. He was my coach, and I miss him because he died 5 years ago. So when I am being creative, I kind of channel my brother, not in a weird way. You know what I mean? I think about what would he say to me? What would he be telling me to do? That's why I use my hands a lot when I do this, because that helps to project your voice when you use your hands. And Brad taught me that. He taught me how to lower my intonation and inflection, and he taught me how to pronounce words correctly. But he was also extremely creative. So when I would come to him with an idea, he would not only encourage it, but he would help me to amplify it, make it even better. I miss my brother Brad. So when I reached out to Bobby Ocean, it's like the next best thing, because he's a voice of home for me. So Brad had a really big voice. Bobby Ocean has a fantastic voice. And he tells me, he goes, I'm going to go into the studio and I'm going to read what you sent me, but I might come up with something different. And that's what I love about radio personalities, the true ones, the big ones, the ones that got to play radio, is because they got to use their imaginations and create things on their own. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, badasses and badasses, I don't know, because they're all badasses. Here's the thing. The definition of my version of badass means that if you are getting through this, whether you're struggling or not, but your attitude is you're not going to give up, your attitude is going to determine your success. So I'm going to teach you how to have a badass, positive attitude, because when you do, you can flip the format on all this fear and negativity, because fear is also a virus. All right, so let's release the virus and get rid of it. My dad turned 83 on Monday. That's crazy. But I'm glad that he's here with me. Him and my mom both live with me now, and so that's a whole new journey. And sometimes I'll have to share that as well, won't I? So you guys, I know that we're all having different levels of struggles right now. Some people have completely lost their jobs and careers. Some people are actually thriving, but maybe feeling guilty because you're thriving, because other people aren't and you don't want to talk about it. And I see it from both spectrums and everything in between. So here it is. We need to be badass, whether we're doing well or we're not doing well. If you're not doing well, you need to just flip the attitude. If you are doing well, you need to flip the attitude and not feel so guilty. You need to celebrate your successes, and that's what we're going to do.
Certifying badasses one podcast at a time, along with how you can live a badass attitude. Pack your stuff. Turn up your energy with Wednesday Wisdom. Here's Kelly Orchard.
All right. I still can't believe that I've got Bobby Ocean introducing me. This is such an honor. You have no idea. A thrill for me, and fun for you, because he comes up with these comments and we just plug them in and he becomes my my unwitting sidekick. I don't know if that's what he had in mind when I asked him to do this for me, but I'm very, very grateful for it. All right. So this week on Wednesday Wisdom, we're talking about the B in B.A.D.A.S.S. Remember the B.A.D.A.S.S acronym. And so we're doing the B in B.A.D.A.S.S, and it stands for be yourself. And, part of the thing is that how can we be ourselves if we don't really know ourselves? And one of the things that you need to know is that you have to go through some trials and tribulations in order to kind of get to your badass self and to know who you are, what you're made of. To get to the point where you're ready to share your gift and achieve the ultimate success that you long for. And you got to go through a lot of trials, tribulations, and obstacles. In regards to my heart crisis, I couldn't understand why it happened to me. When I started to develop motivational programs, I knew I wanted to speak, but I didn't know what I wanted to speak about just yet. And I got a lot of feedback from people who would encourage me to tell my heart story. But I didn't want to be identified as just the girl who struggled with heart failure and changed her career. I didn't want to be known as the heart girl all the time. I had so many other things that had happened in my life. I was so much more deep and complex than simply a heart problem that changed my life when I was in crisis. One of the things is I wasn't going to give up what I do. And, eventually I lost everything. I lost my job. I lost my health. I lost my financial stability. I lost my house. But I was determined that I didn't want my life to fall apart. So I fought and I fought. And I tried to maintain the work and keep my house. Whether it was like refinancing or whatever it is that I had to do, I was going to not let this problem disrupt my entire life because I'm not a victim. And I've already been through some hard times. So I knew I would get through this. However, I wasn't getting better. I was sick. I was weak. I was tired. I was struggling with depression. It was a battle back and forth on the couch, trying to hang in there and put up a good front and give it all. Meanwhile, completely, it had just rocked my world. And the fact that I had no energy, I kept having to have these procedures done. And the doctor was concerned for my health and my heart. Meanwhile, going back and forth to Washington, D.C. with this BLT program with the NAB, trying to maintain or even elevate my broadcast career. And nothing was working. Nothing. And it wasn't until I let it go and I just surrendered to the fact that I couldn't determine the time frame when my heart was going to heal. And then I was going to feel better. I needed to get out of survivor mode and then just learn to let go and go with the flow. Yeah, I did lose everything. I did. But you know what? I gained so much more because I looked deep inside of me. And I knew I didn't want to live in survival mode anymore. I wanted to enjoy my life, no matter what, no matter how much time I had left. Thankfully, I was healed. And that was, my doctor called me a miracle. So when it was over and I could think more clearly, I reflected on my journals. I talked to my friends and family. And I made a decision that I was going to go to school and do something about being able to help other people who have experienced something like this, or even anything that I've been through before. So here I am, just, freaking entertaining you, telling you my stories, hoping that something inspires you to just keep going, be resilient, but make wise decisions to do what's best for you. Don't try to prove anybody wrong or get revenge, or be a victim.
This is badass territory. No sniveling. Your ticket to the Kelly Orchard Unlimited Vault of Wisdom is your choice to be badass.
Okay, so in music, syncopation involves a variety of rhythms which are in some way unexpected, making part or all of a tune or piece of music offbeat. More simply, syncopation is a disturbance or interruption of the regular flow of rhythm, a placement of rhythmic stresses or accents where they wouldn't normally occur. Okay. Negativity consumed me during the trials of my health problems. I wrote in detail in my first book, Heart Lessons. How ironic as I look back now and acknowledge at the time I had lost hope of being a successful writer. My hope of being a dancer and choreographer was also history, and I concluded that my hopes and dreams must be modified. So perhaps a way to look at my arrhythmia was causing my heart to write a new song, dance to a new rhythm. So glad I learned about syncopation in the process. You've got to allow yourself to reframe a crisis in order to look at it differently and shift your emotions about it. This is adapted from a Bible study that I read. Will you be remembered for the song of your heart or the screech, like a howl or a groan or an outcry, a whimper or a shriek of your life? We all will leave a legacy that is determined by our daily emotional choices. If somebody who knows me well were to be asked, what is one thing Kelly is known for? It would be random dance parties. My worldview is that of a musical where people just break out into a song and dance. No joke. When that television show came on not too long ago, I really was at the edge of my seat asking, who got inside my head? What is it? Zoe's Incredible Playlist or whatever. Extraordinary Playlist. That's what it is. I love that show. And then when I realized that it's, choreographer Mandy Moore, who I'm not sure which part, at least she does the dance numbers. It's like, oh, and I love her from So You Think You Can Dance. So anyway, that's me. That's how I think, and that's how people would see me, So getting back, I digress. Getting back to my thing. So if anybody knew me well, so my worldview is, dance party. So no joke. And I do have a bit about dance moves at a cocktail party at the radio show a few years ago, but it needs a visual. I can't really do it on a podcast, So I just, but here's the thing. You have limited amount of brain energy, okay? So give up the things that aren't worth your time or worth your money or are having a negative impact on you. So that's my Wednesday wisdom for you. Remember that depression causes brain disease. Brain scans reveal it. The longer one lets depression grow and linger and go untreated, the worse it gets. And when we have the statistics the way we do, staggering, even before COVID, it was 1 in 6 Americans will suffer a major depressive episode in their lifetime. Well, I'm absolutely positive that it's probably 100% right now, right? Okay, so you got to cope with the envy and the jealousy and whatever it is, all right? So that is my advice for you, my Wednesday wisdom for today. And we were going over the B in Be Yourself and the thing about syncopation and music. So I do have a question for you. Once again, we're talking a little bit about music for Wednesday wisdom. And my question is, I think I've asked you a couple of questions now. Today, I want to know, when you were a kid, what age were you when the first dance that you went to at school? Was it middle school? Was it high school? And what song do you remember playing at that dance? And was it a good experience or a bad experience? Think about that. Focus on the first dance that you ever attended. What was your experience and what song would you attach to that experience? And then shoot me an email. Let me know. I really want to know. All right. You guys have a great day. And I'll see you later. Bobby's got a message for you in just a second.
B.A.D.A.S.S is an acronym, and each Wednesday, Kelly shares tips, tools, and information about how you can become licensed to be badass too, along with how you can live in unfettered badassery.
Thanks for listening and getting one step closer to being licensed to be badass. Be sure to subscribe to continue on the bus to Badassville. Snag your Badass Habits ebook at licensedtobebadass.com. You can stay in the slow lane and get just enough tools for successful badassery, one podcast at a time. Or you can join the Badass Ambassador crew in the fast lane by checking your baggage with my Licensed to be Badass integrated program with videos, worksheets, and group coaching for motivation, mindset, and a fresh approach to living a fruitfully badass life.
Hop on the bus to Badassville. Friday again, we turn up the energy. Tune in and tune up with one focus in mind: your advancement and progress in wisdom, success, personal growth, confidence, and positivity. A podcast for successful badassery with Kelly Orchard.